Yo, what's up? This is your boy Postman, and you're tuned in to Post on a Diary Room. Welcome to Post on a Diary Room. And as you may know, every day is a good day to get a delivery from the postman. And of course, if this is your very first time tuning in, please kindly like, share, subscribe, comment, do whatever is necessary to engage with the content, and most importantly, enjoy the review. Thato Saul returns with a brand new project since releasing Life is Gangsta in 2022. The now recent offering is titled All Dogs Go to Heaven, and this is pretty much a project that still coincides with his regular subject matter that deals with issues related to gun violence, criminality in Pretoria, death. Amongst the many other things that he talks about on this particular project, it's pretty much centered around issues related to the stages of grief that one goes through. And he also does touch on the exploitation that does take place within the rap game or the entertainment industry as a whole. The sonic palette that is explored in this project is that of Memphis rap. Now, the Memphis rap scene is pretty much slipped on. Now I'm talking worldwide. But the influence of that particular rap scene is pretty much clear on this particular project because you can hear the influence of acts like 3-6 Mafia, Gangsta Pat, Project Pat. I'm not saying Thato Saul was influenced by the three acts that I've mentioned, but all I'm saying here is the three acts played a very tremendous role towards pioneering the whole Memphis rap scene. The beats on this project are very eerie, and it also does have a lot of these fat kick drums. I think in as far as those two elements primarily, I think they do stand out when you consider the Memphis rap scene and the whole entire soundscape of this particular project. Now, still on the thought of the Memphis rap scene, when you hear the first joint on this project being Caddy, it actually ties together with the initial thought that this project may have been influenced by the whole entire Memphis rap scene because the song Caddy sounds exactly like a typical Memphis rap type joint. One of the standout songs on this project being Big Dog plays as a song where Thato Saul is announcing his return back to the fold, and to help him channel or to help him bring across that kind of message is obviously Flo Jones Jr., who I thought was very, very good because he sounds very much laid back into the song and he has a mini back and forth with Thato Saul. We still have Luatin over Pounds, who continues his lengthy feature run after a very powerful project. He did it on Untouchables alongside 25K, and now he's still doing it again with Thato Saul on Big Dog. I thought his verse was very good, and I like the fact that he came through with the moment where he said he was looking at a hand with the fat ass, and then he realized with such all, and then he was just like, let me just relax. I like that play, and yeah, I thought Latinova pretty much had the best verse for me. Conceptually, I did enjoy the radio concept that we find from time to time on this project. And obviously, that idea of the radio is spearheaded by the lady being Mulebuheng Sipeng, who is a Tax FM radio broadcaster, by the way. Her role, besides the whole radio concept, which was very good in my opinion, because it also came in handy in as far as transitioning to the next songs, because the commentary was also as powerful because what it then did was it led the listener right into the next song, and like that. And also, I did enjoy the fact that she's not on every song. On some songs, she's there, on the next, she's not there, and she lets the project run, and then she comes back, and that's what I actually enjoyed because what I also enjoyed in as far as her contribution was concerned was her interview with AKA. One of the standout performances on this project, besides the rapping, the beats, and all these other things, but that genius play of her interviewing AKA. Whoa, I thought that was AKA on AI. That AKA interview tied very well with the notion that Thato Saul is actually inspired by Kendrick Lamar, because when you go back to Kendrick Lamar's catalog and you go right into T-Pab, if I'm not mistaken, T-Pab is To Pimp a Butterfly. Yeah, To Pimp a Butterfly. To Pimp a Butterfly. That's the project there. You may find an interview that Kendrick Lamar had with Pac, and I think it's the same thing that Han had with AKA. Because I'm not really tapped in with the Spitori language, there was a language barrier for me coming into this project, and there were many things that may have jumped over my head, but I did pick up a lot of these football references, like Thato saying piano in Shusha in 7. There is just talking about Mamelodi Sundowns, and there's also a song titled Camel. When you might think that Thato Saul in that song is talking about camel in the desert, the literal animal, but in this instance, it pretty much also became clear that he's talking about the cigarette. But also, it's a dirty play where he's basically calling the hands here and come suck on my camel. Like basically it's a dirty play, explicit play. There's a lot of explicitity there. But for the sake of the agenda, it's about a cigarette. Or camel means or refers to a cigarette and not the actual camel that he's talking about on this joint. There's one thing that also stood out for me was the fact that Thato Saul made it clear that pretty much you might not even hear him dissing another nigga because he's one act that's just gonna call him out and just give hands because he says he doesn't have time for diss tracks. Companies pumisilo shy and once. My favorite song on this project is Amen. Thato Saul on this one goes back down into memory lane and shares a story that took place or an event that took place in 2015. And as you all know, one of Thato Saul's best strengths is obviously the storytelling element, and that element also becomes alive or it gains a lot of prominence on the song Amen, because this is a song where he talks about meeting a pastor in the dark. Then mid telling the story or while telling the story, he left it and just went right into the hook and then came back to tell the story. What that did for me as a listener was he kind of left me hanging. But when he went to the hook, it was like, okay, I need to hear what this story is all about. And I wanted to find out where the story ends. No hate to the young boys that are called On Paper Run. But that song is not for me. I don't like the song. It sounds very horrible. And obviously, there was a lot of intention behind how the features sound being goats too. But I didn't enjoy their contribution and I don't feel like they were necessary. But for the sake of the platform, and kudos to them, but I just feel like they were horrible. Whole Lotta featuring Big Hash was more of a love song. It's a love cut that he normally does because it sounds a lot more similar in terms of context. Because on the project Life is Gangster, we did have the song Kick It With You with Marcus Harvey. I think within the spell of the project, the song Clipper makes a lot more sense. But as a single, I understand the criticism that the single got, but yeah, I just enjoyed it for the sake of the vibe. But as a single in GA, in terms of it having replay value, not so much because I didn't really go back to the joint. Another thing that stood out for me on the song Clipper was that triplet flow that Thato Saul channeled. I thought that was very, very unique of him and it stands out very, very well, especially on that second verse of the song. When the song and All the Dogs came on, it became very clear that this is probably going to be a very deep cut alongside songs like Life is Gangsta, Pally, Passion and Politics, Baggage Claim. Whenever you hear strings or just naked keys, you just automatically know that Thato Saul is coming through with a very deep cut, something introspective, something that will give you a lot of value. I think this is the deepest cut on this particular project. He's addressing a lot of things. Someone stealing his beat. He's addressing niggas, addressing narratives. For instance, he also did touch on the beef that was fan made up or made up by fans where people kind of expected him to beef for 25K. Upon hearing Thato Saul and Pretty Ugly on a song together on the Pretty Ugly project titled Dust, it was great. It was great because it was very deep and it was also in line with what Pretty Ugly's album was about. And then they connect again on the song Who I Am, where Thato Saul more or less gave Pretty Ugly a lot of control in as far as him handling the hook as well as have a verse at the same time. I think for me, this plays as a song where Thato Saul is still reminding us that despite him going all Pitori on this project, he can still rap the way we knew him to rap. And nothing has changed. You still know who he is and he's still Pitori's best shot. I think I understand why Thato Saul had 25K as a hidden feature because after the release of the album, the biggest talking point was them connecting on one joint and also them putting an end to the narrative that suggested that they once had a beef or they just don't like each other. But I do think that this is a song that will probably play as some sort of foundation and as far as them making more music together. Pally, Passion and Politics sounds very different from the first one. He didn't try to replicate what he did on the first one. Sounds very different and unique to this particular song itself. So Pally, Passion and Politics stands alone and this one stands alone. But in terms of it being a deep cut, I just don't think it's deeper than the first one. Thato Saul's back. Sonically, this project sounds very refreshing. The beats that he went for are very bright and he sounds very introspective once more. He does give a lot of updates in as far as why he left the music and how he sees things now and also him dealing with grief. That's been a very consistent theme. But now I think I would like to hear Thato Saul just, taking a detour, just another happy side of Thato Saul. I don't know, like a happy gangster rapper would be something that I appreciate. But this project, for the sake of what it is, contextually, conceptually, as well as thematically does make sense. This project for me gets a 7 out of 10. Thato Saul's new project gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Post on the diary, please kindly like, share, subscribe, comment, do whatever is necessary to engage with the content, and most importantly, I will see you on the next one.